inspectors couldn't break the code.
Right. They can now?
That's why. Oh, no.
November 11th, 2014. My name is Patty Williamson. I am conducting an oral history interview at Ileana VA Medical Center in Danville, Illinois with George Fisher. Take it away, George.
Hi. Well, I entered the Army on delayed entry in 1976. I did basic and AIT in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I had an incident when we were on AIT training where I suffered a concussion and ended up in, well, actually what happened was we were on training digging a ditch with a bulldozer, and we were pounding the dirt on the other side of the hill, and weren't supposed to go over the hill, the mound of dirt that we were digging. I was riding shotgun, and the other guy was operating the equipment. Well, he shifted it into second gear and we went up and over the hill. And when we came back, instead of going in first, he dropped it in third. And we came back up and over, and I did a whiplash maneuver. Got through training, got back to the barracks, and got up the next day for calisthenics, and we were doing push-ups, and I got one, hit the ground, and all I remember is my drill sergeant coming over yelling, "Get up, get up!" And he touched me, and I've never seen a drill sergeant run for a phone so fast in his life. I was literally on fire. My body was just hot. And that's all I remember until about the fourth day when I woke up in the hospital, and they told me my temperature was 104, and from there they gave me a 30-day furlough after I'd done my AIT training. Because I originally asked to go over to Korea. Instead, they sent me to Germany, which I'm grateful they did, because I went over there at a place called Krasuski Barracks, and the Army had classes on how to speak German, learn the language. And they also had what they call German-American Friendship Club. Well, after I'd learned German for a year and a half, I decided to go to the Friendship Club. That's where you meet German people, families, and stuff like that. And I ran into a man. He was about 6 foot tall, had a beard like a German would, like a goatee, and his name was Olaf Ziegfeld. And I met him and talked to him. And we must have talked for a good 2 hours. And we just hit it off. I mean, he was speaking English and I was speaking German. And he asked me if I'd like to meet his family. I said, yeah, sure. Well, that's what we're here for. And I met his family. He had a boy that was 15, and a daughter that was 13, And I don't know how this wife was. I wasn't gonna ask. And he asked me over for dinner one night. I said, well, I got to clear with the post commander and my CEO. I said, if everything goes right, why not? So I cleared it with the post commander and my company commander, and I went over and had dinner. Met Grandma. She lived down in the basement, and she made in German is called strawberry Kuchen, which means strawberry cake, with alcohol in it. I had a couple of pieces of that.
Tastes pretty good, huh?
Oh yeah. And I had dinner, and we really hit it off. And he says, anytime you want to come over, just call to make sure we're home. If somebody answers the phone, say hi, I'm on my way, and the door will be open. So I found out he was a German English teacher, and he wanted me to come to his class and dress green. He said, bring a change of clothes with you. I told him that I still had to clear all this, and he said, well, if you clear it, you're welcome. I said, well, I'll be glad to go and let you know tomorrow. So I got it cleared, and I showed up at the house. We jumped in his car and went to school. We were a little late because I was behind schedule, and so we took the Autobahn. And we got there on time, and I introduced myself, and his grade was 8th grade, so there were probably about 12. And I told them what I did and talked to them, and they had a bunch of questions and stuff like that. And I got through with my talking with them, and I went and changed into my civilian clothes. And boy, did they light up, their eyes lit up. And see, over in Germany back in the 70s, they couldn't get blue jeans, like Levi's. And I had Levi's on, and tennis shoes, and nice shirt. All they wanted to do was buy my Levi's off me. That's all. They were infatuated. Oh, can I get a pair? Can you get me a pair? And I had to tell them no, because it's not legal, because they have to pay a tax on the jeans where military doesn't. And to get a pair of Levi's from Levi Strauss was 95 marks, which was $45. That's back in the 70s, because I was there from in mid 76, because I went in June in 1976 and did 8 weeks of basic and AIT, so I was there somewhere around October. And so, you couldn't do that. Just, if you did it on the black market, you went to the brig. And I I went to Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, the kid's birthday, grandma's birthday. I was there all the time. Every time I had a weekend off, away I went over to their place. We went on picnics and saw the countryside. I just love to do that because in the city, they didn't like GIs because too many of them would go down there and party and get drunk and, just create a ruckus down there that, just like anywhere you got too many of them. You don't want to see them because, oh no, it's going to happen again. Somebody's going to get in a fight. So I went to the little villages and countrysides, and out there, they liked American soldiers because they knew they weren't going to create a lot of hassle. I met this one farmer. Oh, he had to be about 60. He had the old donkey and cart in the back, pulling a great big wheel of straw. And I was on my little moped. And I pulled up alongside him because he was stuck. And the donkey didn't have enough strength, so I got out and helped push the cart and the donkey so he'd get out of the mud hole. And it was so neat to see the smile on his face. And he invited me over for lunch. And I said no. He says, you must come. I said, okay. So we went and had lunch, and then we went out to the barn. We rolled off the hay, put up the donkey, and we went into the back of the barn, and I wasn't sure what was going on. Well, that old man had a still, and I had strawberry schnapps. That was some strong stuff. I only had one, and I still had farther to travel. But on my way back that evening after I'd been out in the countryside, I stopped back by to see how he was doing. And his wife was sick in bed, so I sat there and talked to her, and the whole time we talked in German.
Oh,
I didn't say one bit in English.
very good.
And so we got along real well because I was showing to him I'm willing to learn his language.
Mm-hmm.
So he thought that was great, and I had dinner. I had bratwurst, homemade, and some fresh German sauerkraut, and German potato salad that was sweet. Most of it's kind of tart or sour. And he wanted me to stay the night. I said, no, I'm sorry, I have to go. And I was in regular German clothes. He said, where do you gotta go? I said, I gotta go back to the base. And he goes, you're an American? He said in English, you're American? I said, yeah. And he told me if I was ever back out that way again to come back and see him. I said I would. And so the whole time I was in Germany, I went all these little villages and towns and stuff. And the military put on a vacation of 4 days to go to Paris, France. Unfortunately, I didn't know any French, but that's a much harder language to learn than German, I thought. And we went to Paris. I had a long coat on down to my ankles, and I had the Russian pop cap on my head that was all furry with the flaps on the ears and the one in front. And I had this, ran into this German lady and asked her to take my picture. Back then it was one of the old Polaroids, you had to pull the film out to be developed, Polaroid. And I looked at that picture. I thought, man, I look like a Russian. And I never went up in the Eiffel Tower, but the traffic circle you see in Paris, in the middle is called the Arc of Triomphe. And what it is, and you see that building that's kind of square, and in the middle it's cut out. Well, in that middle is all great patriots and war heroes and like presidents and stuff like that. It's all etched in there. I saw that. I've been to Amsterdam. I didn't make it to England because it was just a little too far away to go off on the weekend. But I did make it to what they would call Woodstock here, but it was in Germany. Went and saw Chicago, Santana, Thin Lizzy, and 3 other German bands, and we camped out over the weekend. We left Friday night after we got through doing our military stuff, and it cost us 40 marks to get on the grounds, and you could stay the whole weekend. We left, we just barely got back on the base Monday morning by 8 a.m. There was beer, wine, all this stuff. We just kicked back and listened to music, was drinking, and that was a good time. And then I actually made it to Oktoberfest. I took a week's furlough and went to Oktoberfest. It's like taking the Illinois State Fairground and filling it up with nothing but beer tents, one after another. Now, normal beer mugs are like about a 20-ounce cup. Now, in Germany, they're what they call beer steins. They stand about so tall, about 20, 30 inches tall, and it holds 1.5 liters of beer. And that's the only time where they permit you to get loaded. I mean, smashed, drunk, whatever. I must have hit about 5 or 6 tents, and this is the time when I knew German, and I had a friend of mine that was in my barracks that barely spoke any German. So he hung out with me. So I ended up drinking half the night for free because the beer was costing $3 German, which is 3 marks. And so, free beer all night. And there was a couple nights, I don't remember where I woke up at, but and the thing about over there, their alcohol content by volume is 3 times what it is here in the state. But the beer has so much flavor to it, you don't even taste the alcohol. My favorite beer was dark beer. And dark beer is actually what they scrape out of the barrel and filter it. And that's it. So it is extremely strong, but it's got such a flavor to it. It's almost like a malt beer, like a malt shake. And like I said, there's sometimes I don't remember why I woke up, but after that I went to back to my base, and I was mainly TDY most of the time. So I might spend a week or 2 at my barracks, and then I was gone on TDY. We went to Manheim, and we turned this 5-acre wooded area with tree stumps and dirt for the families that were over there, military families. We turned it into 4 softball diamonds and 3 soccer fields for the military family. And we did that because I was a road grader, known as a plate operator. And I saw the finished product after we left. I come back for something else. I got to see the green grass, the kids out there playing soccer and softball, and that just warmed my heart and lit up my life, thinking I took 5 acres and just turned it in for the military kids to have something to do. And after that, we were in our barracks one night, and we were watching the news, and back in the 70s, they had the Olympics in Iran, and there was a hostage situation that they were parading some of the civilians that they had captured on the balcony of a high-rise, threatening to shoot them. I didn't think much of it, but a day later, the alarm went off at 1:30 in the morning. Were to set up for convoy. And they were passing out our rifles, like our M16s, like normal. And then they said it was condition red, stand by yellow. Stand by yellow. And that meant we were getting live ammo. 2 magazines loaded and 2 belts of ammo. because they said, we're gonna go to war. We're gonna go over there and take Iran and get our hostages back. So that really woke me up. I said, it's time to go. And I sat there in my water distributor. And we sat there and sat there at least 3 hours, and it was still dark. And then they said it was stand down yellow, condition yellow. That means we weren't going. We're just standing there and waiting to find out what they were going to say. And then they said it was stand down yellow, condition green, which meant they were collecting all the ammo, and we were to go back to the motor pool after they counted the ammo. Another 3 hours while they counted each round in the clips, not the belts. So by the time that ended, it was 7 in the morning. We got back to the motor pool, which was only a quarter mile away on base, and time to eat breakfast and do police call. We were all tired, dragging our feet. But the only good thing I know about police calling was when I was walking, I found $20. So I went back after I did my time in Germany, went to Fort Benning, Georgia, and I found out that my half brother had a boy, and apparently he had the boy while I was over in Germany, because he was 3 years old now. And he said he was coming to my post. And he said he didn't know exactly when, but one day I get a call to see the first sergeant, and I thought, what did I do wrong? Anytime you go to the first sergeant, they tend, you kind of think, well, what did I do? He says, you got visitors, they're out in the parking lot. I thought, what? Okay. Went out there, my little nephew, bright red hair, come running toward me going, Uncle Ron, Uncle Ron. I never felt so happy. Picked him up, hugged him, he was hugging me like he hadn't seen me in a million years, and so I visited with them for a while. So why didn't you send me a letter you had a kid instead of springing it on me? Which I was only teasing. And he said, well, we did. I said, well, I didn't get it. He said, well, yeah, that's the military for you. I lose everything. And I visited with them for the day, but they still had to move on. My half-brother was a professional magician, and he lived out of his van, and it just happened to be they were taking a vacation and coming to see me. I thought that was great. They were specifically coming to see me, and I think they left at about 6, and I went back to the barracks. They had a Polaroid camera and got some pictures. And when I was in Georgia, they set up a day of fun. We went to Six Flags over Georgia, and it was Halloween night. And I went in to the fun shop and bought a werewolf mask. And I mean, it looked pretty realistic. And when I got out of the service, I went over to my brother's house with my nephew, and he's 5. And he went to the bathroom, and I was showing my brother the mask, and I had it on. My little my little nephew, he came around the corner. He saw the mask. He saw the mask, and he did the about face right into the wall. And then he made it around the corner. I felt real bad. I took the mask off. I said, Warren, come here. That's his name. He peeked around the corner. I said, it's not real, see it? I put it on the ground, and he came over and stomped on it a couple of times. And that was pretty much about it. So I had a good 4 years, and I learned what I wanted to do was to be a heavy equipment operator. I mean, I spent 2 reforges. That's when the United States military combats whether tanks, engineers, rangers, stuff like that, they're flown over to Germany. We play fake war games, and our job was to dig anti-tank ditches, which is about 400 feet long and about 20 feet deep. We dig it with scrapers, and out there in reforger, you have to put up a perimeter tape around your bivouac site, which is a white ribbon, because there was tanks in the area, and tank drivers go anywhere there's no tape. On this one bivouac site, we heard that 3 guys got killed because they forgot to put up their perimeter tape around their bivouac site. And there was just enough room for a tank to get through, and 3 guys were killed in their sleep because the tank went right through the opening. End of story. Thank you.
Did you go on to do heavy equipment operation?
Well, when I got out, I was hoping to do that, but we had a recession out there in Phoenix, Arizona, where I'm from, that the equipment industry was in a slump. So I never did that, but I went on later in life to where I'm at now. I was a truck driver for 20 years. I got 2,200,000 miles under my belt with only 2 accidents and no fatalities.
Very good. How old were you when you enlisted? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, I was 18.
Why did you choose the Army?
Because they had heavy equipment training, my MOS that I wanted to do.
Good deal. How did you get down to your base into Missouri? Did you fly down or did you hitch?
Let me think. They flew us from Arizona to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. They met us at the airport, shuttled us to base in a cattle car.
A what
Yeah.
car?
Cattle car.
Really?
It's a trailer that used to haul cattle that they took out the upper level, threw us all in it, and shoveled us on the base.
Was there
And
any
met
like
us-
seats
they-
or anything?
Huh?
Any seats or anything? Or did you just
Yeah,
stand
there
and
were,
hang on?
and there was only enough for about 20 people to sit down. It was just around the edge of the truck. And they had a bar that was down low enough to hang on to.
I never heard that.
It was just like a cattle car. Holes in the side to breathe. Rough ride, pulled by a semi. You hang on for dear life.
The seats weren't padded, huh?
No,
That would have break my
that's
butt.
what you call real army.
Yeah.
Not like it is here. I heard that one guy said, if the drill sergeant's yelling at you, you don't like it, you pull out a card and hand it to them and they gotta shut up. Yes.
Oh, my dad would flip out. Did you ever have to be the what do they call it, the sergeant major or whatever on the base where you go around and?
Oh no, you were a private. You had a drill sergeant and he gave the instructions. All you were to do was stand there and do nothing until he said to move.
And do you remember your drill sergeants? Well, besides the one that moved really fast.
I don't remember him, but it was Sergeant Terrence. Sergeant Terrence, I don't know.
Did you keep in touch with any of your other fellow?
No, I didn't know many of my barracks mates in Germany. I mainly tried to stay in contact with my German family, but I never knew the operator number to get over there. I tried several times, but back in the 70s, it's not like it is today. You can call your operator and they'll give you the long distance number and stuff like that. And I tried writing and I guess I didn't know the proper address or any of that. Not like it is today. You can send a text message or something like that. But I do have a photo of all of them. And I still remember it like it was yesterday. We were all sitting in the dining room. It was my birthday. Drinking some wine. Now, kids at 16 could have wine, but they're not allowed to get drunk. 1 or 2 glasses, and we're all sitting drinking wine. And they knew I loved chocolate, so they brought out this, looked like a gold bullion bar, and had it wrapped, and they gave it to me. I didn't know what it was until I opened it, and it was some Swiss chocolate from a factory in Switzerland that I found out later it cost, in American money, $100. In German money, it was 200 marks. And I was so heartwarmed
Yeah.
And then I found out it was Olaf Ziegfeld's birthday too. He never told me we had the same birthday. And his daughter gave him a like a comic book about fishing. And we were looking at it, I was reading, and I mispronounced the word. And me and his daughter were sitting together, we were laughing so hard, and he got a picture of it. It was the best. Memories I will never forget.
So you were over in Germany. Did you have trouble getting supplies over there?
Oh, no. Our PX on base was well stocked.
Okay.
I mean, you could get basically about anything you want. Cigarettes were rationed. You had a cigarette ration card. You could get 4 cartons a week. And I smoked back then, but I was only I was lucky if I was 4 cartons a month. One of the guys on barracks, we heard through the grapevine, was going to the brig because he was bootlegging the cigarettes. Germans back then were paying $8 in American money for 1 pack of cigarettes, so that's 16 marks. And he was bootlegging it because he was buying everybody's rations. He thought he wouldn't get caught. Well, you gotta take that ration and get it punched. So they knew. Though he didn't listen, but yeah, everything was good back then.
When you got back, did you surprise your family when you got home, or well, besides your half brother surprising you?
My brother knew I was coming home, my twin brother, and while I was in Georgia, my mother had suffered 2 strokes and 1 heart attack. So when I got out, she was surprised when I come home. But after that, I took care of her until my half-sister convinced her into selling the house and everything else she had, which was willed to me and my twin brother. They said they were going to take care of her in Texas because one of my nieces was a nurse. That lasted for about 2 months, and then they dumped her off into a nursing home. I'd get a phone call at least once a week of my mom wanting to come home. And I always told her, yeah, Mom, you're coming home as soon as I could get a place. But I never could. I just wanted to give her hope. And then I never had the money to go down and see her. And then one day I got the news she passed away.
Did you ever marry or have a family?
I've been married 3 times. The first one lasted 2.5 years, and the second one lasted 1.5 years, and this last one, we've been together for 16 years.
How many?
16.
Wow, good job.
Yeah.
Good job. See, my brother was the same way. 3rd time was a charm for him too. Did you guys have children or?
No.
No?
No, she was, my wife now was physically unable really to carry a child. She was, she weighed over 350 pounds and still has a bad heart, so it wasn't
Not a good
possible,
idea.
no.
Not a good idea. Do you keep in touch with anybody that you served with besides Olaf?
No, most of them, their numbers have changed, or they moved, or.
Does your group have a reunion? Some of those groups have reunions, you know, like.
Never knew of any.
Yeah.
Military, never got a hold of me about it.
Yeah, it would, like, if you go online, like my dad's a parachute rigger, and it has, in California they're going to do a riggers reunion.
Yeah,
It's
I've
like,
never heard of an engineer convention.
That's a shame. Something for you to do while you're here.
Yeah. Well, see, I just recently got my VA benefits because when I went into the Army, one of the requirements, since my aptitude test was so low, I had to forfeit my medical benefits. And I've spent the last 40 years trying to get them reinstated, and I just got them reinstated back in April 2nd I applied, and then May 16th they were activated by a lady named Jane in Decatur, Illinois, at the VA clinic. She said, I asked her about it, and she said, what? Yeah, sure, we'll get them instated.
Sounds good.
So here I am with you lovely ladies.
Yay. We're
Yay.
happy to have you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was there anything unusual that was going on while you were in Germany or serving, like a war or a protest or?
Just a situation that I stated earlier about sitting in a convoy waiting to go to war.
Which one?
It was the Olympics where the guys were held up in that tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. Oh no, I don't. I was too young. Careful. You told me about the birthdays, and how did you get home from when you got out? Because I'm assuming they didn't fly you home.
They flew me back to Phoenix, Arizona, and my twin brother. No, I took a cab back to my house from Sky Harbor Airport. One thing, the flight over to Germany. Oh my God. It was in a 747.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
sat in the rear section because it was smoking. And from the thrust of the engines, it was so loud, and the tail section shook so much. And when you took off, you were like sitting straight. When you lifted up in the air, you actually tilted back to a 45-degree angle, so you're like this. And the back end is shaking. And once we got up in the air into altitude, it took 14 hours in the air.
Did you have to gas up somewhere?
No,
Really?
we left from LaGuardia Airport. So from Phoenix, because I got a 30-day furlough before I went to Germany.
Mhm.
They didn't want to have to fly it back and then back and then back over.
Uh-huh.
And so the flight over was 14 hours in the air. And then when I did my tour and left there, we left from Frankfurt Airport, which is a massive airport. We were in the air for 18 hours because you fly with time.
Mm-hmm.
Back in a 747, this time I asked for non-smoking, so I sat closer to the front, and actually back then they had more room for your feet because travel back then in airplanes that far was very limited because that's all they had for flying overseas was 747.
Did you ever fly in a different plane? Like a C-130 or?
Yeah, from Frankfurt to Phoenix, they just came out with the 737s. They're about half the size of a 747. A lot quieter, smoother engines, less noise. And then I touched down, got a cab, went to my mom's house where I grew up, and the rest was civilian life. I told you I was chatty Cathy.
Oh no, that's fine. Have you heard any more differences between when you served and what the military's like now?
Yeah.
Anything you want to share, or besides the card deal? That just floors me.
I don't like the no-tell policy.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion is I have nothing against the gay people,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think they have any business being in the military. In the situation of giving a card telling a drill instructor, you can't talk to me or whatever. It's everything's changed because of society. You know, it's politically incorrect. Give me a break. In the military, they toughen you up because you're there for one thing and one thing only, for combat. You're not there to have fun. You make of it what you make of it.
Yeah, they're there to save your life, not be your friend.
You're taught to fight and survive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get that rough training, by the time you get somewhere, like these guys that are going to Iraq and Iran, and they're coming back with PTSD, I think the reason a lot of them end up that way because they didn't have that tough training to toughen their minds and their spirits.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you see sports now. Everybody wins. Even though you lost the game, you're still a winner, you still get a trophy. Teaching kids today that being a loser is not wrong. It means you gotta strive that much more to accomplish your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Same way in the military. If you're not toughened up, it's gonna affect you down the road.
Mhm.
And it's sad that these 21-year-olds, 20-year-olds who got PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, and mental problems, because if they were toughened up a little bit, they might be able to survive it and come back with less traumatic experiences.
Mhm.
And I feel sorry for them. I don't feel like a veteran when I see a 21-year-old in here suffering from PTSD because he had to go over and fight a war that I don't think should ever have been fought. You know, just because we're the world superpower doesn't mean we should go over and rescue everybody that screams for help. We got our own country, kids that are starving, and yet we're going over to a country that's starving because they don't stand up and fight for themselves and create a democracy. They could overpower those leaders. But they don't, because that dictator has got a handle on it. You scare them enough, they cower down, and then they submit. That's just like terrorists. If you give in to the terrorism, it's just a way of beating you down. And once you're beaten down and you don't get back up and fight, they got you. Just like bullies. You don't stand up to that bully, he's gonna keep coming at you and coming at you.
Exactly.
That's all they are. And the military is no different. I believe, you know, if that drill sergeant in basic hadn't told me to get up and run and move and climb, what would I be like if I went into combat in the jungle? I had to crawl, climb, fly.
How do you keep in touch with the people at home? Did you write letters or phone calls or?
Actually, we got phone privileges. It was difficult at times because communication back then, you know, it was cable and satellite. And satellite back then wasn't the best, but you know, you could talk. You had 10 minutes to say hi and, you know, I love you and stuff like that. So I did stay in contact with them. I sent my mom tons of pictures. I've always taken pictures because I wanted her to experience what I was experiencing. You know, she had never been anywhere except for Texas and Ohio, where she was born in Phoenix. So I wanted her to experience what I was seeing. And my brother, my twin brother, he was off making his own business. He was a chimney, he still is a chimney sweeper / ductwork cleaner / inventor. He's got an invention on the website right now that if the economy gets good enough, it's gonna take off.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about it though, because I don't want to be any pirating kind of problems.
No.
So you became a truck driver.
Yeah. Oh, I used to be a tour bus driver.
A tour bus driver? For where?
When I was out in Phoenix. I've been in the transportation business for 40 years. You know, I always saw out at one of our main malls out in Phoenix called Metro Center. Always saw this bus pull up, double decker, picking up people. The guy in it got a tie, a white shirt on, black pants and shoes. And one day I went up and I said, "What do you do?" He says, "I'm a tour bus driver." I said, "What is that like?" He says, "It's great. It's wonderful. You get to go everywhere." Bingo. Light went off. I says, "Well, where do you go to get an application?" And he says, "Well, our place is hiring." So I got one of his cards, went down, filled out an application, bugged the manager for 3 weeks straight. Every day I called him, every day. And for about a week he said no. And then the second week he says, "Is this you again? Is this George?" I said, "Yeah, it's me again. I'm gonna bug you until you give me a job." And he said, "Well, I got a job for you, but it's not driving a bus yet." I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I understand. It's warm in here.
Yeah. And he says, "Well, I need a detailer bus washer." I says, "Okay." I says, "What does that pay?" And back then, minimum wage was real low. He said, $8 an hour. I said, "Okay, how many hours?" He says, "As many hours as you want." Light went off. I said, you got a worker." So I washed buses, dumped the porta potties, checked oil, tires, and then I started working as a mechanic's assistant. I mean, I did the whole gamut.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you went from the ground up.
Yeah. And on top of it all, I didn't have a car.
So you had to walk to work?
No. I lived 10 miles away. I rode an 18-speed mountain bike
Oh, jeez.
for 5 years. I was buff.
I'll bet. But I'm glad it was Arizona, because that would have been horrible in the winters.
No, not in the winters. Winter out there in Arizona is 50 at night and 70 during the day. It's the summers.
When it's 100 degrees outside.
1 year we broke the record in Phoenix. It was 120 at noon. I worked at night. And when I got up at 10 o'clock, because I had to be to work by midnight, and it only took me 45 minutes to get to work. And when I got to work at midnight, I looked at the thermometer outside. It was still 100 degrees. I had 6 water bottles strapped to my bicycle, so that was an additional 40 pounds. And I still made it to work in 45 minutes. And then one day I got to drive a bus. And with my experience in the Army driving heavy equipment, I knew how to swing out for turns. Because, you know, a bus is so long, you don't swing out to make a corner level to take your tires out and jump the curb. And call an overnighter up to Las Vegas. You go up there, spend the night, and come back the next day. Well, me being the jokester and comedian, when we were going up there, I had a captive audience. It was a bunch of older to middle-aged senior citizens. And we're going up through Boulder Canyon off of Route 93. It's a direct shot out of Phoenix up the highway. It's only at 2